So effectively day 2 of the earthworks. It's the Monday the 6th of December. The path down the middle is mostly done now, but not the trench, because there's some more equipment needed to do the trench. So I think when that arrives here, the plan is to get onto the trench pretty quickly. What he's doing at the moment is cleaning up in that far corner, which I asked him to do. So it's about it's just coming up to 8:30 a.m. and I've put all of the temporary fences up, so the sheep are effectively locked into that back strip now. The front gate is closed, but I'd rather them not walk up near the excavator. I'm sure they probably wouldn't anyway, but it's more secure if they're down there. The excavator started at about 7:05 this morning, and I thought while it was a bit cooler, it's going to be about 27 today, I think. It's not too bad, but in the direct sun, that's pretty warm. I'm just taking the opportunity to clear up as much of these felled trees as I can, and I've actually, in about an hour, I've got most of it done. I just need to do this tree here. I'm just using the little handsaw rather than cranking up the chainsaw, and just stacking it all over here. It's probably not the best place to stack it, but just in terms of when it comes to burn it off, it's probably too close to the trees such that we have to then move it again. But I need it kind of to be out of the way, I think, of this section. So it's about 10:30 now, and the buckets for the excavator have been dropped off. Really lovely guy that dropped them off. He's doing something similar to us, actually, in terms of building and going through the rigmaroles with the council and the CFA and all that sort of jazz. It's lovely to meet someone who's going through similar things and understands where you're coming from. It's a great contact to make. And Brock he's attached the bucket, and he's doing the trench, which sort of goes down the middle of this track here, which we will keep now as a path. So hopefully he's going okay. I can't really see how much progress he's making. Needs to go down 700 mil, I think. So it's about 20 to 12 now, and I don't know, the trench looks like it's going reasonably slowly. It's certainly slower than the process of actually getting the path in, but from what I can see, the trench is there, so he is managing to get it in, but yeah, it's not altogether super quick. So this is a little cottage just up the road from our place. It's just been raining a bit. There's a little thunderstorm going over us. It's just a clap of thunder just then. This little cottage was, I understand, built around 1880, and it's the closest accommodation to our place. You can see the road. It's not too far from the road. It's quite noisy actually. So this place was actually for sale when we were looking at ours, and it was two old miners' cottages that were in desperate need. They were basically falling over. They were in desperate need for restoration, and the lady who bought them is a builder, and she did that restoration work, and it actually was featured on a TV program. So they're a real work of art as much as anything. You can see how rustic it really is, in the sense that to build this place, and I assume these are originals, but I'm not sure, they do actually look in pretty good condition, but it's really just nothing more than those sort of tree limbs of the quality that we've just cut down at our place. They're literally being used as framing. There's rafters in the ceiling here. Old fireplace. Kitchenette. It's really well put together. Very uneven floor. A struggle here if you were not sure on your feet. So it sure looks a picture. Not everyone would be comfortable here, I think it's fair to say. Well, I'm sure that's a good sign. Hopefully. See the shed down there. Put a coat of oil on it, and it's just rained, so it's probably not ideal, but I don't think the rain was enough to cause any damage. So after a very positive start on Saturday, where it went unbelievably well, it didn't go so well today. So as I had suspected when I came up and had a bit of a look as he was working, the trench, which is put in using these smaller buckets, the trench seemed to be taking quite a bit of time, and indeed he hasn't actually been able to complete it. So he was doing 8 hours solid today, and in fact I don't think he even stopped for lunch. I think he went 8 hours through, and basically the hope is that you can just pull up beautiful soil, or at least soil that's capable of then being backfilled into the trench. But this is kind of what came up. So our lovely straight path, which we were jokingly calling the M1 just because of how wide and kind of smooth it looked, that's gone. It's taken a fair whack today. And you can see these rocks that have come out of the ground, and basically they are not suitable backfill because they will break the electricity pipe. And the electrician was on a call with the earthworks fellow Brock, and he said even if you were to put these rocks in, and even if it was okay for 12 months, something will happen. A heavy vehicle will go across it, or something will happen. You know, when we're putting the shed in, whatever it happens to be, when the houses go in, and weight is applied to the ground here, a rock might just pierce the cable, and that would be a disaster, basically, because the whole thing would effectively have to be dug up. So I was kind of learning on the go today what that meant is that we needed to find a whole bunch of fill, a lot of fill actually. The electrician suggested that there needed to be 300 mil clearance of fill before any of these rocks could be used as sort of top level fill. Anyway, so fortunately the Brock was able to ring around and find some fill really quickly. So there's 4 great big dumps of fill coming from a quarry in Castlemaine tomorrow. Apparently fill is, if you've got enough preparation and notice, you can almost get fill for free because it's really expensive for people to get rid of it. So but we just don't have enough notice if the electrician's going to start tomorrow, as he plans to. So that means that creates a couple of problems. It's the expense of getting it and transporting it here at short notice. It's also then how he now gets the fill in. He doesn't have too much clearance on this side, actually, because he's got to get access to put the fill in over the cable, and actually he probably has to start up the other end. So I just don't know how he's going to do that. He's probably going to have to push through somewhere here, and I think inevitably this is going to take way more time than we had anticipated, which of course translates to way more cost, and probably it means that some of the other jobs that have been slated for being done are going to fall off the schedule. Oh my gosh, it breaks my heart to see the place like this. I really don't like it. When you wonder if an off-grid power option would have been better. Right, so I'm actually standing in the trench itself now. Literally in earth. I think what this also means is that we end up with quite a lot of rock to deal with. Anyway, it is what it is. We just have to deal with it. Poor peppercorn tree's definitely taken a hit, but it doesn't look to be wilted or actually distressed in any way, so hopefully it will be okay. And then I'm hoping what he can do is just, again, now we come back to a timing issue, but mount up rock to sort of stabilize that, and we keep that. And just be able to walk on up here. Wow, this path's really quite different. quite incredible. But brutal, absolutely brutal. So I was starting to get really a bit down about the events of today and feeling really quite terrible about that dirty great big gash that we've made on the land for that electricity trench. And I am still feeling very conflicted about it, but it's a beautiful night. It's probably 9 o'clock now, 8:30, 9 o'clock. I thought rather than go back and just ruminate and sit in that little cabin, stay here and I talk to the sheep for a while. They're off grazing, I think now, gone somewhere. I thought I'll harvest my garlic. It's quite cool. So I've taken most of the garlic out of here. There might be a few very dead garlic shoots in there, but I've got the most of it out. And I actually listened to an interview with Peter Cundall, who very sadly, although I'm not sure he'd say sadly, I think he really considers that he had a very fortunate life. I think he was 94. Anyway, he passed away yesterday. And for some reason I just felt like listening to some wise words of his. And while I did that, being eaten by mozzies, I harvested my garlic, which, funnily enough, is precisely what he was imploring people to do. He was saying how the reason he made it to 94 was because every single day he was out there working in the soil and just doing what he loved and eating the produce that he grew. Anyway, this is by far the best garlic I've ever grown. It's nicely formed cloves, and then smaller ones are all inside here. So they're still pretty good size, and they've formed much better cloves this time. A few quite small ones. You would plant much more if you had more space and more time and attention to give to it. These bulbs weren't weeded or watered or tended for because we were locked down, so they've just done that entirely on their own. It's a good end to the day.